Go ahead. You can go ahead, Lindsay.
Yep.
Okay. You can call the meeting to order at 7:08 p.m. We would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the traditional territories of the Indigenous people of the Treaty 7 territory and the Otipemisiwak Metis Government District 4. We respect the histories, languages, and cultures of First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and all First Peoples of Canada, whose presence continues to enrich our community. We'll start with item 2.1. If there are no changes to the agenda, could I get a motion for the agenda?
Through Chair. I'll make the motion that the agenda be accepted as prepared.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 3.1. If there are no errors or admissions to the previous minutes, could I get a motion?
Through the chair. I motion the minutes of the October 1st, 2024 regular council meeting be accepted as presented.
Okay, Steve will move on to item 4.1.
We're just getting all in favor
Sorry,
there.
all in favor? Thank you, Mayor Harris. Sorry, Steve, I did call you. That's okay. Item 4.1 is bylaws - SDAB bylaw. Go ahead.
Thank you, Council. Good evening. Steve Altina, representing Planning and Development Department tonight to present to you Subdivision and Development Appeal Board bylaw updates. Administration has undergone a review of the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board bylaw and has noted a number of areas of improvements. We propose several updates to the SDAB bylaw to align with current provincial legislation and to address membership attraction and retention. I'll go through a quick summary of the changes that we propose to the bylaw. The first is under legislative training requirements. Under the Municipal Government Act, there's a requirement for the clerk and members of the SDAB to successfully complete a training program set or approved by the Minister of Municipal Affairs before participating in any hearings. A refresher training program is also required every 3 years. Administration proposes to reference these provincially mandated training requirements in the bylaw, as the current bylaw does not reference the required training. For membership, under the current bylaw, the SDAB is meant to be comprised of 5 resident members at large. However, in recent years, the SDAB has not met this membership quota. To assist in achieving full SDAB membership, administration proposes to allow 1 member of town council to sit on the board in accordance with the Municipal Government Act. This councillor must not participate in a subdivision appeal if the councillor participated in the decision of a subdivision authority on a subdivision file. And the councillor must also not be a member of the Municipal Planning Commission. We also look to make changes to the terms of office to help support retention of SDAB members. We propose to allow a 3-year term instead of the current 2-year term under the bylaw. Administration also proposes to remove the hard term limit with 3 consecutive 2-year terms and instead allow flexibility for member reappointment application to be considered by council at the end of each 3-year term. We also propose to implement compensation and reimbursement for board members to assist with the attraction and retention of SDAB members. We propose that they be compensated for their time and reimbursed for their mileage when traveling to fulfill their SDAB responsibilities. The proposed compensation reimbursement rates are set out in Schedule A of the SDAB bylaw update, which is included as part of your package. There are also a number of minor amendments that we propose to the SDAB bylaw, including defining clerk of the board, clarifying the selection of the chair and vice chairpersons, establishing an outcome in the event of a tied vote, and a few minor grammatical and wording updates as well. Administration's proposed these updates to support the attraction, retention, and training of SDAB members to fulfill the requirements of the appeal board under the Municipal Government Act. The town does need to have a working subdivision development appeal board or enter into intermunicipal subdivision development appeal board with the municipality. So we are also, administration is also exploring the feasibility of establishing an intermunicipal SDAB with a municipal neighbor. We've put out feelers so far to the town of Carstairs and out to Rockview County. An intermunicipal SDAB would provide an alternate option should the member municipalities be unable to achieve quorum within their own SDAB. For our recommendation, administration recommends that council approve and give all three readings to the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board bylaw 2024-05. That's the end of my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Are there any questions for Steve on the bylaw changes? Mayor Harris?
I'm just curious, has Crossfield ever had an SDAB or are we starting fresh?
To the chair, to Mayor Harris. Yes, Crossfield has had an SDAB. It hasn't been active in a while. Director Nash may have better information on that, but I believe the last time it was active was 2021. 2021. 2020.
Okay, fair enough. So we're working off Crossfield's old template then.
Yes, that's right. I believe the bylaw is a 2019 bylaw.
Okay,
Yes, it's 2019 bylaw, the current one.
fair enough. Thank you.
Are there any further questions for Steve?
Chair,
Counselor Brennan?
is it typical of municipalities our size to offer reimbursements for this kind of thing, or is it just specific to this case where we're like, we need people to get involved in this?
Through the chair to Councillor Brennan, yes, we looked at Carstairs. Carstairs does offer reimbursement. Did we look? Didsbury does as well. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Okay, any further questions?
And if I may, that we've proposed a compensation in line with Carstairs, Didsbury, and Rocky View County. It's all around the same rate.
Right on.
Okay, if there's no further questions, could we get our first reading on bylaw SDAB?
Through the chair,
Counselor Brennan?
I move that the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board bylaw 2024-05 be given first reading.
Okay,
All in favor?
all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Could I get a second reading?
To the chair. I move that Subdivision Development and Appeal Board bylaw 2024-05 be given second reading.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Could I get, sorry, final reading with unanimous consent?
Through the chair,
Councilor Lambert?
I'll make the motion that Subdivision and Development Appeal Board bylaw 2024-05 be brought forward for third and final reading with unanimous consent.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Could I please get the third and final reading?
The chair.
Counselor
I
Knight?
motion that the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board bylaw 2024-05 be given third and final reading.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you, Steve. Okay, item 5.2, bulk water rates. Steve again.
5.1.
5.1, sorry, yeah.
Thank you. Through the chair. 5.1 is Rocky View County, Alberta Community Partnership Application, SCADA Master Plan. Again, presented by myself, Steve Altino, on behalf of the Operations Department. Rocky View County reached out to the town in September on an Alberta Community Partnership grant to support the development of a new supervisory control and data acquisition, SCADA Master Plan for the county. SCADA systems ensure the safe and efficient operation of water and wastewater facilities and the continuity of service to utility customers. Essentially, they're your software for monitoring and controlling our wastewater and water facilities. The project will produce a new SCADA master plan for the county, which will guide water and wastewater monitoring service delivery and offer a collaborative approach to the sharing of project data and best practices with the town. The town will be minor partner on this grant. These Alberta Community Partnership grants do require two partners. The county would be the major partner, would manage the grant, and the town would be the minor partner and participate in any information sharing. Master planning of SCADA systems provides a roadmap for the maintenance, update, and renewal of these systems to minimize operational and security risks. The town's SCADA system is quite modern and was actually implemented last year, if council recalls, in 2023. It covers the water reservoir and pumping station, the wastewater lift stations, and the new aeration units in the lagoon system. As existing SCADA system ages and infrastructure is added to the town, which increases the complexity of our systems, comprehensive planning of a SCADA system will become increasingly beneficial. An ACP grant application was submitted to the province of Alberta on October 1st, 2024. Attainment of the grant does require supporting resolutions from both councils. Rocky View County again will manage the grant and the project and the related compliance requirements, and there is no requirement for matching contribution. Administration's recommendation is that council support Rocky View County's submission of the 2024-2025 Alberta Community Partnership Grant application to support the development of a supervisory control and data acquisition master plan. Concludes my presentation. Available for any questions.
Okay, are there any questions for Steve?
Through the chair.
Councilor
So,
Lambert? Go ahead.
Steve, this isn't going to cost us anything and we're going to get data from it.
The chair to Councilor Lambert, that's correct. So it's a data sharing exercise. There's a wide range of different partnerships kind of available. Some of them were fully participatory where we would participate in a master planning process. In this, we're more of a minor partner and we'll work with the county and they will share data and costing and their master plan at the end of the day to help us in the future to develop our own master plan and what the scope and scale of that would look like as our systems grow increasingly complex.
Okay, so we're ostensibly being good neighbors.
Any further questions for Steve? If there's no further questions, could I please get a motion on 5.1?
Through the chair,
Councilor Brennan?
I move that council support Rocky View County's submission of a 2024-2025 Alberta Community Partnership Grant application in support of the Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition SCADA Master Plan Project.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Okay, 5.2 bulk water rates. Steve again.
Thank you to the chair. We're going to get the presentation loaded up here. So requires a little bit of visual aid compared to the other two.
That's pretty good.
Everyone is able to see. No. All right, so Steve Altina again, I'll be presenting item 5.2, the bulk water rates for council consideration. Administration is currently reviewing the town's rates and fees in an effort to ensure adequate cost recovery that supports service levels, asset sustainability, and future fiscal health. As part of that review, an assessment has been completed on the bulk water rates. The town operates a bulk water filling station on Lot Avenue near the town shop and the snow storage facility. Bulk water users can be split into 3 general categories: residential, residents of both Crossfield and Rocky View County; non-residential, other municipalities; and commercial industrial users. And there's a single industrial high volume user out in Rocky View County. The residential and non-residential users account for approximately 26% of all usage since 2020, and the single industrial user accounts for the remaining 74%. The town has typically seen around 90 bulk water users accounts since 2020. The number of users increased dramatically in 2024, as you can see in the graph there. However, this is likely associated with the water main break in Calgary, and it's not expected that this trend would be sustained. Bulk water sales account for approximately 13% of the town's water usage, an average of around 70,000 cubic meters per year, or 70 million liters. In late 2023, oil and gas users were prohibited from potable water use from the system by the Mountain View Regional Water Services Commission, who supplies water to the town. This equates to an estimated $63,000 loss in revenue for 2024. The town currently purchases water from the Water Services Commission at a rate of $2.05 per cubic meter, and the rate has increased approximately 5% per year since 2021. The town currently sells bulk water at a rate of $4.50 per cubic meter. Since 2020, the town's bulk water rates have fluctuated, and those changes are noted in the top figure here. In 2022, the bulk water rates were standardized for all users with a focus on increasing the number of bulk water users for a positive impact to revenues. Administration conducted a comparator analysis of the town's bulk water rate, as shown in the bottom figure there, a little cut off by the TV. The town's bulk water rates are approximately 35% below the comparators. Administration proposes a $6 per cubic meter flat rate for all users to align with regional comparators and to support further fiscal sustainability of the infrastructure. The bulk water station generates a net positive fiscal impact for the town. It's doing that currently. Administration proposes a rate, again, increase to further support sustainability of the asset and the supporting infrastructure. Costs incurred with operating and maintaining and managing the bulk water station include purchasing water from the Water Services Commission, staffing to manage the account administration and the operational maintenance of the station, amortization of the asset, future upgrades to the bulk water station itself, the cost to maintain the supporting infrastructure, such as the water lines, the distribution network throughout town, the reservoir and pump station, and the roads to access the site, and other operational costs, such as electricity costs, the pump electricity costs at the water station, at the water pump station, and debt payments on the reservoir and the pump station. Administration is presenting 3 options for council's consideration tonight. Option 1 is to increase to a flat rate of $6 per cubic meter effective January 1st, 2025, with an anticipated positive financial impact of around $83,000 per year. Option 2, residential and non-residential rate of $6 per cubic meter and the single high user industrial user at $4.95 per cubic meter effective January 1st, 2025. With an anticipated financial impact of around $40,000 per year, again positive. And option 3, maintaining the flat rate of $4.50 per cubic meter for all users, a $0 financial impact. Administration recommends to council that council support the continuation of a single flat rate for all bulk water station users, with the rate being adjusted to $6 per cubic meter effective January 1st, 2025, and that the extra revenues be allocated to the water reserve. That concludes my presentation. We're available for any questions.
Yeah, open the floor for any questions for Steve.
Sure.
Counselor Knight.
When we do the anticipated financial impact, Steve, of the $84,000 on option 1, are we assuming any loss of customers based on the increase of rate charges changed? Or is that just, we assume we're to sell the exact same volume, like for like?
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Knight, I believe that is assuming we're going to sell the same average volume per year.
Okay. I like the comparison of other towns' costs, but we have no idea what they're charging the rate for bulk water. But we really have no idea what their costs are on that side. So I kind of find it we can go fishing for numbers what they charge, but I really like to clearly know what the town costs are. We know what the water is. Our small struggle is it's not till November 18th we'll know the exact charge we're getting. We have a pretty much ballpark cost of what we will be charged for the water coming in from the commission. Is there any tangible way where we can find a number that we think those costs actually account for to come up with a number to derive it? I like to see this number driven for the local and the bulk. But is there a sustainable way or a possible way where we can actually put a number to that metric, do you think? Outside of just knowing that those are the 5 pointers right there. We know it's 205. Is there an easy way or is there not an easy way that we can kind of show citizens and the customers we have what our costs really are? Is that a thing that's possible or not?
The chair to Councillor Knight. Certainly we're working on some numbers over the last few days regarding those background costs. I think there's probably some high level costs that we put together, and this could be referred back to administration for perhaps a further look and to bring back more information for council and for residents, if that's what council's direction is, to do some more engagement with some of our high water users. So.
Okay.
Through the chair. Do we know what Calgary is charging? Because last time we talked about doing this, our large industrial user said that they would go to Calgary and get their water if we raised ours too high. Now I don't know that if that was a bluff or, I mean, they've got to consider gas prices of hauling it back and forth from Calgary versus hauling it from here. But that was something I think we need to take into consideration, is that if we were to use the entire flat rate and bump them up to 6, we might lose them.
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Lambert, I think that's a fair point. And thank you for the question. Certainly, as council knows, there was some information provided earlier today that Calgary's rate is $1.75 per cubic meter, but they do have a monthly charge for accounts as well. So it's not quite an apples to apples comparison there. We did look at our comparators that we looked at were other small towns and in and around more our size rather than Calgary. So I'd suggest that Calgary likely has a very different water scenario than the town, producing, hundreds of millions of liters of water per day. But yeah, it's $1.75 per cubic meter with an additional charge for that monthly account.
Any further questions for Steve?
Through the chair,
Councillor Gustafson?
maybe it might be more effective to get a costing per cube. What our overhead per cube is versus, just a blanket cost. What I'm where I'm going with this is so that I can, when we vote on this, we can justify that to our ratepayers that are going to be paying this increases. Oh, well, it costs us $2.05 to buy the water. It costs us, 3 something or whatever to pay for the overhead, and then a certain amount for looking forward on repairs and, putting stuff into the kitty. So when it comes time to fixing our water station or whatever infrastructure that is associated with that, then we have enough money for that. So I think being able to get a cost per cube of overhead, including looking forward, would be helpful for us to make a decision for our ratepayers.
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Gustafson, I think those are good comments and thank you for them. And similar to my response to Councillor Knight, I think he was going along similar vein there as well. I think, should council direct administration go back and could put, sharpen our pencils a bit more and put that information to paper, right, for council's consideration.
Any further questions for Steve? So I think the way that it's looking, Steve, is councilors proposing to obtain more information before they do make a final decision on this. So if we could send it back to administration and bring it back to a future meeting.
Through the chair. I'll make a motion that we ask administration we table the decision on this increase until administration brings forward more information.
All in favor? Carried. Sorry, Mayor Harris, I keep forgetting to look over that way. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Okay, item 6.0, council reports. I don't have a list. Councilor Brennan.
I'm really boring today. I have nothing further to report.
I'm sorry, everyone, just bear with me for one moment. As Deputy Mayor Fox, I have a rec board meeting coming up on October 28th, and that's it for me. I'm actually going to go back to Mayor Harris.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I continue to have my weekly meetings with our CAO. I had a mayor's caucus meeting last week, and I will have another one on Friday. We're just tightening up, sending a letter out to Premier Smith here, asking for another meeting to talk about further funding for mid-sized towns. I went to the Water Commission tour. It was very informative. It was really good. If there is another one that comes up, I encourage everyone to attend. And I also have a rec board meeting coming up shortly. Thank you.
Councilor Gustafson,
Nothing further to report.
Councilor Knight,
I have,
We had our Mountain View Water Commissioner Regional Meeting on October the 9th. We discussed potential rates for the falls for the 2025 season. So we're just getting through that staging so that we can have the Great, so for the counselors of the towns, municipalities, Mayor Harris joined me in the open house, which is great. And as she mentioned, it's really neat to go see that water commission. It's to go around and see how they make the water. Like when they talk about cassettes, they're not talking about stuff you put in your vehicle back in the day. It's pretty cool, and to see how many moving pieces there really are and how that comes with. It's well worth the time to come there. And they fed us a burger, which was really good, and we had some cake, so it was a great time.
Thank you. Counselor Lambert,
Nothing to report.
Counselor Bain.
I have nothing to report.
Hey, could I please get a motion for 6.0 for the council reports?
Through the chair,
Counselor Knight,
I motion that report, the council reports be accepted as presented.
all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Okay, item 7.1, outstanding items, Kinza.
Thank you, Counselor Fox, or Deputy Mayor Fox, I should say. I have no requested amendments to the outstanding action list,
Okay,
but
are
I'm
there
happy to
any-
answer any questions.
I'm sorry, are there any questions for Kinza on the outstanding list? Okay, could I get a motion for the item list accepted as presented? Counselor Brennan,
Through the chair. I move that the outstanding items listing be accepted as presented.
okay, item 8.1, correspondence, there's nothing, so there's no motion
Wait.
required. I'm gonna go back to Counselor Lambert.
All in favor?
All in favor? Sorry, carried.
Aye.
Okay, 10.1, closed session. I need a motion to go into,
Through the
Good.
chair. Oh, sure.
Counselor Brennan,
Through the chair, I move that council enter into camera at 7:34 PM.
Hold on.